Alright, here's our second example for partial fractions. I'm going to look. The degree of f is 1, and that is less than the degree of d, which is 2. Remember that degrees are your exponents. So now I need to look and see if my factors are linear. So when I factor this out, 3x minus 3, remember I'm only talking about the denominator. And both of those are linear functions. If I were to graph x minus 2, it's a straight line. X plus 1, it's a straight line. So then I'm going to rewrite what I have. Minus x minus 2, which will give me a1 over x minus 2 plus a2 over x plus 1. Now remember that in order to solve this, I'm going to multiply out by the least common denominator, which will be x minus 2 x plus 1. So when I take this and multiply it times the first one, it will just give me 3x minus 3. When I multiply it by the second one, the x minus 2's will cancel, leaving me a1 times x plus 1. And then when I multiply by the last one, the x plus 1 will cancel, leaving me a2 times x minus 2. I'm going to go ahead and simplify this. 3x minus 3 equals a1x plus a1 plus a2x minus 2 a2. In the next part, I'm going to put my like terms together. I have a 3x, an a1x, and an a2x. So 3x equals a1x plus a2x. And in the next part, I'm going to put my other like terms together. And those like terms are just constants. So the negative 3 is equal to a1 minus 2a2. Now before I go any further to solve this, I'm going to take this first one over here, and I'm going to have 3x is equal to, I'm going to factor out the x, leaving me a1 plus a2. I'm going to divide out by x and divide out by x, so 3 is equal to a1 plus a2. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to now solve these. So what I have is negative 3 equals a1 minus 2a2. That's this equation. And I have 3 equals a1 plus a2. And that would be this equation over here. I like to use the elimination method. You can use any method you would like. But in order to do the elimination method, we have to have opposites. So I have an a1 and an a1. Those are not opposite. But what I'm going to do is multiply the first one by a negative 1. And the new equation will be 3 equals negative a1 plus 2a2. And then this next one will stay the same. So what does that give me? 3, when you use the elimination method, you're combining them. So 3 plus 3 is 6. A negative a1 and an a1 cancels. But here I have 2a2 plus a2. That gives me 3a2. Divide out by 3 and divide out by 3. So now I know what a2 equals. And that is 2. But I also have to solve back for what a1 equals. So my last step is to substitute this back into an equation and find the value of a2. So I'm going to substitute it right here. So 3 equals a1 plus a2. I know a2 is 2 plus a1 equals 3. Subtract 2 from both sides, so 1 is equal to a1. Now for the last part, I have to put this 2 and the 1 back into where they belong. So to do that, I'm going to use this equation right up here, and I'm going to take it right over here. So a1 is 1 over x minus 2 plus 2 over x plus 1. And that is your fraction decomposed.